Hi guys, today I wanted to talk a little bit about planning. And planning is something that I do a lot of. And it is important. I have a lot of things to do. There's the farm and the kids and the business. So I need to get a lot done during a day sometimes. And people are like, how do you get a lot done? And a lot of it is planning and sticking to the planning. This is my Filofax, and this is what I've chosen for planning. And I'm going to post down below a link to my blog and today's current post on planning. And in that post will be a bunch of other links to previous posts that I've made. But if you do a search on my blog for planning or journals, you're going to come up with a bunch of things because I've taken a long journey to get to this Filofax. I love it. It works for me. I need to be able to move pages in and out, but I also need to have my dates so that I can plan out. Like I did a video earlier this year or the end of last year. I haven't linked all the blog posts yet, so I don't know exactly, but I'm going to go do that right after I film this. So anyway, I like to have everything so that I can move stuff in and out, and so that I can have my schedule, and if I need to move in more pages, I can move in more pages, and that's what this allows me to do. And it's one of those things that can move and change with you, and I need that because planning has changed a lot for me. I started out with a bunch of post-it notes and some random pages and lists, and those things get lost or I forget to look at them and it's not coherent. And then I started putting everything into the bullet journal, and that worked great for a little bit, but I was missing having pages come in and out, and I ended up having a lot of addendums in my thing, like, oh, go look at this page because that pertains to this, and it was way easier for me to have stuff move in. So through all of the things that I've settled on, this is what I've settled on, and this allows me to make changes too. So through this, I have several like sections, and I've got to change the sections because not all of these sections are working for me anymore or right now. So I have other spare books like these. They're just kind of this is just a cardboard one, really. It's just cardboard, and it's got the same little binder clips in it. I have a couple of plastic ones that look like, plastic placemat was put a little binder thing in it. Anyway, I have those so that if I move a section out of this, I can set it in that. Do I need to use it? Does it need to just be filed away? Am I ever going to use this again? And I do file things away. Everything gets filed in a plastic baggie, and it's just filed away in case I need to look at it. I rarely do, but sometimes you never know. Anyway, this is where we are right now. And I have my big calendar page in the front. All the front is all the different calendar pages because I talked about that. And this, I pulled this out a little bit just so that I could show you. I mean, normally everything is clipped in, but I pulled these out so that I wouldn't be snapping open and closed to show you. This is the pages that I use. And you can see that I'm clearly not doing a great job using it because this is what this week looks like. This is this week. There's more than this going on this week. So everything has been, moving over to, it's that list and post-it stage again, which I've talked about using post-its in your journals before because there is a good way to use post-its to help plan and keep track of things. It is not a good solution as an all-encompassing, this is what I'm using, because things get lost, things get moved around. I know that when I have like pages, scrap paper, post-it notes here and there, that I'll go and I'll be like, what is this stack of papers? Oh, right, my lists are in there. And I'll go and flip through it and be like, this list should have been done days ago or a week ago, or, well, that's no longer good because that was last month. So I need to find a solution. If I'm not using this and I'm not using it effectively, it means it's not working for me. That's how I am. If I'm resorting back to the old habits of the Post-it notes and scrap papers, it's not working. So instead of using this, I'm trying to come up with something like this. It has a schedule on it. And there's more, Kate had her braces put on this week. There's a meeting later today and a meeting tomorrow. And there was more earlier in the week, but I didn't create this until Tuesday. And there's a meeting on Tuesday. I created it during a meeting on Tuesday. So this is the whole week at a glance, and I'm not sure I like it. It feels like if my schedule was any busier, then I wouldn't have enough. Now, I like opening my book like this and having like a schedule here, and here I can write more stuff. But maybe it's more convenient. I printed out a different one, and this isn't the final example of what it's going to be, but this would be next week. So 2 pages for next week. So next week I would open up and have these 2 pages would have all my schedule. What I've changed it to is instead of having just schedule with all the times, it's in gray. It's hard to see the times written. The times stop like right about there, and then it's blank. Because there are things like coming up on the 23rd of September, I need to ship club or pack it. It gets packed on the 23rd and is shipped on the 24th. And so I could just write a note in there on that date that on the 23rd, pack club. I don't need to schedule it in on a time because maybe, something comes up by then and, Kate has to go back to the orthodontist. Or there's, a meeting that pops up. And so I would have to put the meeting on the schedule, and then the club could be packed before or after that scheduled thing. There's some flexibility in here, and so I need to have some flexibility in this. So the next one that I made has that, and that'll be reflected. Because what I did is I made both of these, and these are A5 size because that's the size that I use. So I made both of these as a PDF, and if you go and look down below, the link will be down below, and you can pull that off for yourself. If you use A5 or you think you might want to use A5, it'll give you a chance to take a look at it and see if this is going to be something that could work for you. So I figure if I've got my schedule out something like this and I still need an extra page, that's why, I've got these, that's what this is made for. So I could always, I have this is what's going to work for me. And then if I need more, I can just throw in another page. The other page can have all the lists. And then once I have a list, I can assign them to a day to be completed. That's how my planning works for me in a nutshell. That's just a small bit of it. Because as I think about some things, I try to go over them with you so that if you have planning, you can plan too. So there was the whole thing planning for shows that I did. So there was that whole, video blog post thing that I did about planning for that. There was goal planning. And I'm going to keep doing more and more of this stuff. I'm even thinking of maybe kind of one-on-one helping people. I don't know. I do a meeting every week with Beth, and it has been immensely helpful really for both of us to work on planning together. And that was the meeting on Tuesday that I actually started working on these. As we were talking and throwing ideas out, that's when I was like, okay, started making these forms on the computer to try to get it so that it's exactly what would work for me. So, and it may be that at some time I go back to the pages like these that I had been using. This worked for me in 2018. I think maybe even in 2017. This is similar to what I used. And it worked really well. But for some reason this year, it's just, I look at these empty pages and it's just not working for me. So we're trying something else. And that's part about planning. You don't need to kind of force yourself to use what you've used before. At least I don't need to. Maybe you do. Hopefully not. But I like to go with the flow. If life is throwing something at me that's changing how I need to plan, then I need to change how I plan. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm working on this. This is going to be the change that I'm doing now. I'm going to post these so that you guys can use them if this is something that you think you'd like to do. And if you're interested in doing some more planning stuff, message me. Let me know. And we'll talk about that and see if that's a possibility. Maybe run it through my Patreon. Because I think Patreon is a really great resource that I've been underusing, I believe. So, that's it. This is where I am with this. And you know I'm going to update you. And there's more planner stuff coming because I'm starting to work on my 2020 stuff already. Yay, planning. Okay, guys. So, let me know. I would love to hear if any of this stuff works for you or if you want to hear more about planning stuff. I know there's a lot out there, and there's a lot that I haven't told you about how I plan and what I do, but little by little, we'll probably get through it all. Okay, guys. Talk to you later.